What's up, guys? I literally just opened up my eyes, so I apologize if I am not the brightest condition right now. However, I do want to make a video. So I want to talk about truth, lies, and some examples. I might even get into depth on examples because I have plenty and I can go in depth with them. So I want to just tell you right now, everything's a fucking lie. Every fucking thing's a lie. If somebody told you something, whether it's the mainstream media, whether it's your teacher, professor, whether it's your family member, your friend, whether it's a university coming out with a study, it's all a fucking lie. Now, when you're supposed to be interpreting information, you're supposed to be using logic, reason, and evidence. Not just being told from a researcher that studies show blah, 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 right? Because you know those studies are bullshit. It's somebody else's perception that they have created an environment to do that study where all of the environment has to be aligned with that. I don't believe when somebody tells me anything, right? And that's how you should be. You should use your own brain to think. And I hate that people say, well, didn't you see that study down in University of Phoenix? They proved, no, they fucking didn't. They didn't fucking prove shit, because now you go out and do that study. Tell me what you find, and show how there's a difference. That's why there's always a difference. That's why 4 out of 5 doctors recommend, how about that other doctor? Maybe he's the right one. You know what I mean? It's the same thing like when it's not valid unless the president says it, or you need somebody in a certain position, like a CNN spokesperson said this, so it's got to be true. Or even the UN. A UN representative said this, or spokesperson, or correspondent, or whoever. And then you believe that shit. Why? Why do you believe that asshole? What does that asshole have in information and such that you have absolutely no possible way to think about it yourself? No possible way, no way to look up evidence, proof, look at the scenario, look at logic, evidence, reason. I don't understand why people don't think for themselves. So then they have very hurtful situations to themselves. They're allowing themselves to be enslaved. They're allowing themselves to die from cancer. Well, the studies show that McDonald's is no good for you. Well, that could be right. That could be sustainable for somebody who's starving. I mean, everything has to do with perception. Opportunities happen because of perception. Everything happens because of perception. I'll drive and talk, because this is important for me. So, think of it like this. The cancer industry makes billions of dollars. They make billions of dollars because you believe my tires moving? Alright, my tires are moving. Sorry, I gotta look at something real quick because I just gotta make sure that my tires are spinning. I'm in freezing conditions. Sometimes my tires won't spin and then we have a problem. But yeah, my tires did spin. Anyways, cancer industry makes billions of dollars a year. Multi-billions, some can argue 100 billion a year. And the reason why they make billions of dollars a year in the cancer industry is based on you believing that cancer just happens. Cancer is not curable any other way other than chemo and radiation. And with all these billions of dollars going into the industry, whether it's the patient themselves, whether it's insurance, whether it's people funding the cancer research shit, people are still dying. Why? If people found out that the cure causes cancer itself, let alone does not fix the cancer, doesn't cure the cancer, and the patient now has to fight off the cancer itself and the cure. So if you're fighting off the cancer and the cure, it makes it that much more difficult to survive. But after you take that radiation, the chemo and shit, your body becomes weak. Your brain stops functioning as well. So you can't decide, oh my God, this is actually killing me. They think, well, the cancer has been so destructive and the cure is going to fix this if it's the only shot. And then you end up dying to the disease, let alone the cure. And then there's people like me that know how to cure it. Curing it by not getting it, keeping yourself healthy.
Turn left.
But you should also understand that they're making $1 billion off you. Am I making a dime off of you? No, I want to actually see you get better. So look at who's gaining from the lies. Whether it's the cancer industry, whether it's the mainstream media. Who are the mainstream media throwing this narrative to gain? Because once you start thinking for yourself, when somebody says something, or a study, or that climate change is real, realize, what are they gaining out of it? What are they gaining out of these lies? What are they gaining out of hating on Donald Trump? What are they hating? What are they gaining? Because that's what you got to understand. They're not throwing this lie without anything to gain. A lot of these lies are just to keep you programmed. That's a huge gain for them. Why did 9/11 happen? So they can justify what they were going to do next. Petrodollar, oil, control, destabilize the Middle East, so they can watch my video, my last video, was it? No, 2 videos ago, when I was talking about the New World Order, global governance. They're gaining something out of this. And if you realize that they're gaining something off of you, you got to understand who, what, when, where, why, how, right? This allows you to think for yourself. Because if you were just going to take their word for things, then you're living in an obey, consume, listen to us, we know what's good for you. And people in universities, in the mainstream media, they know what's best for us. Government knows what's best for us. So we don't need to think. And I think that's the biggest problem, is people cannot rationally think for themselves. They take data or somebody says as truth. If I gave you information right now, I don't necessarily hope that you believe me. I hope that you don't believe me. I hope that you go out, figure things out, see with your own eyes, observe, see what's real, instead of just saying, this person in the media said this was right. They had a study, science says. So just do me the favor and not believe what you're told, whether it's your family, friends, a White House representative, etc., right? Don't just take their word for it. Understand that it's perception. Your perception of the truth is different than somebody else's perception of the truth. Therefore, who is right? Right? Take somebody else's argument, because when they're saying studies show, when they say terrorists did this, take their narrative and take it as an argument, not as fact. Look at it as an argument. Are they providing reason, evidence, logic, something that's valid for an argument? Not that it's true, just that do they put together an argument? If they did not, then you cannot fabricate that is any bit true without an argument. If I say terrorists did 9/11, right? And I don't have any proof, any obvious things I can show at you, any type of argument behind it, and I just say terrorists caused 9/11. You better fucking start questioning that and start thinking for yourself. If I don't provide you any type of evidence, proof that it's terrorists, and I just show 8 pictures of some Middle Eastern guys and say they did it with box cutter knives, that doesn't show you proof. They just put pictures of people on the internet or on the mainstream media and say they did that. I can give you a picture right now of George Bush and say, look at that picture. He went on the plane with box cutter knives. But you're not going to believe that because I said it as opposed to the higher up figureheads that know everything. Right? Anyone can put a picture and say that's what happened. They did it. They do it all the time in the mainstream media. So understand that it's so easy to do this. And they're controlling all the people. They're controlling your family, your friends. I mean, I'm an anarchist. I think my next video is going to finally be on anarchy so I can explain to you why you should become an anarchist yourself. Because an anarchist is very liberating. However, they want you controlled in a paradigm of left and right. They want Democrat, Republican, libtard, and conservative. Sorry, I said libtard. I think it's kind of obvious that they don't have an argument, so that's kind of retarded. But they want you controlled. They can't control you if you're an anarchist. They can't get you. Is it valid? Is it an argument? Because that's all it is. If my argument is different than your argument, take them both together. Don't take it with a grain of salt that I think differently. You know, don't. Because what I think is different than what you think. My truth is different than your truth. So, don't get mad when somebody else thinks different than you. Don't get mad that somebody doesn't accept your data. Don't get mad. Because how do you fucking know that's true? Just like how do I fucking know that's true? You know what I mean? So think for yourself. Understand that a truth is not universal or objective. It is subjective. Truth is one of those things that you need to deprogram all the lies. So, if somebody believes a truth is a lie, and somebody believes a lie is a truth, don't hate on each other for it. Just create an argument. If they like your argument, then you can switch the way they think. And that's what the mainstream media does, except they don't use arguments. They don't use reason, logic, or evidence. They use, we know. The government must know everything because they got all secret spying stuff and they know everything. But they can say whatever the fuck they want, and what, 80% of Americans will believe it? I don't think it's fair. I don't think it gives reason, evidence, and logic a chance. Therefore, provide arguments. Don't just say there's a research study that, no, that's not valid. That's valid for them in their environment that they did all that, the experiment or research. That's good for them. Now do your own research. Maybe they didn't touch on, base on some things, which could have manipulated the data. Not to mention, you know, what if they researched a specific something, imagine something that's similar, doesn't have that same objective type of result. Subjective, baby. Understand everything's subjective. Even truth is subjective. And it can switch your whole mindset. If I believe the earth was round, you believe the earth is flat, you think it's truth that it's flat, I think it's truth that it's round. Come on. How are we going to ever get to the bottom of that? Well, I got a picture of the round earth. Well, that's CGI. You know, the flat earth person's like, that's CGI, that's fake. And then you think to yourself, you know what, that is CGI. And then you look up that they have never taken a picture of Earth. And that fucking, all the photographs and all the shit isn't photographs. It's, you know, and then you both learn and you realize, well, that's not valid, your picture from Earth anymore. So then you go to the next step. But you do it together, so you can both get to the same point. It doesn't mean that he was right on flat Earth because he had an argument that said that one argument of yours was invalid. He beat your argument. So it doesn't mean he was right all along. You still gotta fucking construct an argument still. Because those round earthers sure as hell gonna debunk a lot of that flat Earth shit, right? And that flat Earth is gonna debunk a lot of that round Earth shit. So, what's truth? What's truth? And that's a vague example, but you gotta understand, there is no objective truth. It's perceptive. It's perceptive. It's perceptive. It's your personal perception that creates the universe around you. That you believe in your mind, this is the universe. This is the world around you. This is it. Depending on how or where you are, depends on your perception. Depending on the information you believe to be valid, depends on perspective. So understand that it is subjective. There is no universal truth. Christians believe that the truth is the Bible. Is there a lot of ways to debunk the Bible? I think there are. So, look at it like that. What is truth? Understand that the more you believe in something, the more farther away from the truth you will become. Because if you have a belief structure, everything that's molded as your perception is molded around the belief. If you take out that belief, everything becomes much easier to explore, much easier to identify as, is this real or not real? Well, if it's real, I got to have a belief structure with it. I believe in the Bible. I got to have a belief structure around it, because if somebody says something that totally goes against that Bible, I need to stand up and stop it in order to maintain my belief structure. Am I right? So this also works when someone gets up on stage and says, global warming's a real thing, we're the hottest we've been in years, and probably the hottest in history, human history. And, they'll come up with all these people coming forward that you're supposed to believe. Well, why are you fucking believing them? Well, they're actually studying and putting data in. Really? This is the hottest we've been in years? This is way colder than it was last year. This is way fucking colder than last winter. Way fucking colder. Now, when I was a truck driver last year, I'm just debunking stupid shit that people are saying, because I can. The data research says that it's warmer than, every year's been warmer than the last. Last year, when I was down south, even when I was up north in December, it was 60 degrees up north in December, up in New York. I visited family in December. It was 65 fucking degrees all week long. This year, I went up to see family. It was 30 fucking degrees all year, or the whole time I was there. For 2 weeks I was up visiting family and friends. Last year, in January, when I went down to Georgia, it was like 70, 75 degrees. Some days it would get down to 60. In January, in Georgia, for example. This year, go down to Georgia in November, it's already down to 40 and 50 degrees. So I'm using my observations as it's a lot fucking colder this year than the last year. In fact, last year I was in Kentucky in February and it was 60 degrees outside. And everyone in Kentucky that I talked to said, we're blessed this year. It's so warm this year. This year? No. In December, it was already down to like below 30 degrees the majority of the time. I mean, last week was a warm front. It came up from like down in the tropical areas, so that's invalid for that 1 week. But I'm just saying, it took till February like something to get frozen temperatures in Kentucky last year. It never even hit a frozen temperature. This year, it's been freezing all year. Like minus 1 week that it made it up to like 50 something degrees. So think about that. Who the fuck is going up on stage saying it's been a warmer year than last? Use your fucking brain. I travel the country. I have data myself. I have a reader right here that reads temperatures. It's 34 right now in Wisconsin, which is actually a lot warmer than it should be this time of year. So, temperature, it changes. Get used to it. It's been changing for years. The average temperature in a specific spot is going to differentiate every year. It's a lot colder this year in Georgia than it was last year. Even in Florida. It was freezing temperatures in December. Freezing temperatures up in northern Florida this year.
On the right to Wisconsin 44 North.
So think about it. Debunk the bullshit. Think for yourself. That is all.